Hello everyone. My name is Aklil Tasfaldat, and this video is about my chapter 2 podcast review. And from the three options, I choose option 2. The title is Rental Gymnastics. And question number 1: what general terms about humanity, the global village, does this podcast illustrate? This podcast illustrates about systemic injustice in everyday life. It shows how inequal access to basic needs like housing can be quietly maintained through deceptive practices, affecting people's life outcomes in education, health, and employment. Discriminatory rental practices prevent certain groups from integrating into diverse, resource-rich communities, furthering segregation and inequality. It illustrates that being part of the global village is not equally accessible to all. Question number 2: what lessons can students of intercultural communication learn from this podcast? The student of intercultural communication can learn from this podcast. Culture is not just individual behavior. It's also shaped by history, law, power structures that affect how different groups experience in everyday life. Intercultural communication includes understanding how race and identity influence the messages people send and receive in daily life. Communication can be used to fight justice, not just describe it. Students are encouraged to use their voice to raise awareness and support equality. Question number 3: how did this podcast episode help you to understand the perception, self-identity, or cultural context of the people in this episode? This podcast helped me to understand how racial differences continue to shape how people are treated. Even when there is no direct meaning of race, it also helped me to realize that cultural context behind this renters' experience is not just personal, it's deeply historical, political. Their presence, struggle are tied to legacy of racial exclusion in housing. Question number 4: how might you respond or feel if you were involved in this story? How might you respond or feel if you are involved in this story? Choose one character or group to relate to for this question. If I were involved in this story, I would relate to the black renters like LB, who were part of the housing discrimination investigation. If I were in their position, I would likely feel a mix of frustration, exhaustion, and disappointment. I'd feel like I was being judged not by my qualification of ability to pay, but by something I have no control over, my skin color. Question number 5: in what year was this podcast published, and how might that historical context have impacted the way in which the story was told? The podcast was published in 2013. The historical context have impacted the way in which the story was told by showing how landlords use coded languages and subtle denials instead of overt racism. Who is the reporter who created this podcast? Question number 6: who is the reporter, and how might that reporter's background have impacted the way in which the story was told? The reporter is Nikole Hannah Johnson, and as an experienced civil rights investigative journalist, trained in rigorous historical informed storytelling. Her background has impacted her skill in combining storytelling with policy analysis, made the episode both emotionally compelling and analytically sharp. Also, by giving her expertise and context, enabling through investigations that linked hidden landlords' behavior to decades long pattern of systemic racism. That's it. Thank you.